Hi everyone, this is Joy with Create It with Joy. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I've made a card using a stamp set from Darcie's Heart and Home called Llama, and I am using the really super sweet unicorn for this stamp, for this card today. So I'm going to start off, this is just some real inexpensive cardstock that I had from my local craft store. I'm going to be doing a rainbow, and so I am using the dies from Pink and Main stitched circle dies, and I'm just lining them all up because what I want to do is make a rainbow out of all those different colors. So I'm just lining it up. I'm using my painter's tape because that's what I use, and I'm going to be running this through my die cut machine for every color. And so I learned something halfway through this process, a way easier way of taking out these circles. And I used my little, oh gosh, it's a really pointy tool. And right now I can't even think of what I would call it. And my piercing tool, and it would just push it out. So right there, I had to put it in to show you guys way faster. So I just did that with all of those colors. Put that aside, and now I want to ink the background, and I'm using Spun Sugar and Picked Raspberry of my Distress Oxide inks, and then Wilted Violet in my Distress ink. Not that there's any difference, I just don't have Wilted Violet in my Distress Oxide inks, so that's why I used it that way. So I'm starting off with the Spun Sugar, and I'm going to blend, get most of that going as a light background. And then I am using this stencil from Holtz Rays layering stencil, and I'm going to tape that down. And I'm starting with the Wilted Violet at the bottom. I really wanted these sun rays to be pink and purple because it's a unicorn, and you know, it's super girly, and when I think of unicorn I think pink, purple, and turquoise. And then here is the Picked Raspberry that I'm going to go up with to the top of the sun rays, and then I'm just going to blend those two colors together till I get a nice blend and until I like what I see. Perfect. Now I am using W+9 Sunshine Layers die, and I like it because it gives a cute little scalloped edge on the outside. So I cut that out, and then now I'm going to be using Avery's Pierced Clouds die. And I'm cutting it out of vellum and also white cardstock. And I think for the white cardstock I used the Nina Classic Crest Solar White. Cutting out one more centerpiece because I wanted that part to pop up. Now here is this cute little unicorn. You also get a llama in this stamp set, and I haven't used him yet, but I have used this unicorn before, and she is so darn sweet. So I stamped that with Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink about 3 times to get a good crisp image. Now here are the colors that I'm using, and I usually write up a sheet for my videos of all the products that I used after I did it, and this was right before me having surgery, like a couple days before, and I think I kind of was getting nervous about the surgery and wasn't thinking things through because I did not write down these marker colors. So when I was editing, I just was hoping I got these colors right, and so some of it might be a guess, but you get the gist of it. So I used both Copic markers and Spectrum Noir markers. The reason why I use both is because I'm building up my Copic collection, and I do have all of the Spectrum Noir, so I just kind of go back and forth. So this is BG 10, 11, and 13 for the turquoise, which is my most favorite color ever, and so of course my unicorn has to have that. But I just was blending that out. And then I'm going to be using some pinks, R81, 83, 85. Oh my gosh, isn't she so darling? Like you would just, you know, if you were still a little girl, you would want a stuffed animal just like this. So I'm getting ready to go in with the pink here. And I'm just going to start with the lighter color, the R81. And I just really wanted darker towards the roots of the hair and softer towards the tip. And this is R85 for the darker. And then I will take R83, add that, and then just kind of blend one more soft blend of R81. But I love how this is coming together. I think it's such a sweet card. I'm actually making this card for a friend of mine's granddaughter because she does love unicorns. And so I did not have a unicorn one in my stash. I had given those away. And so I needed to make one. Oh, darn. This is R00 and R20 for a cute little muzzle. And I was going to do her little hooves pink, and then I was like, nope, I need more turquoise. And I was glad I did. It turned out really cute. So that's the same BG 10, 11, and 13. Do a little bit of highlighting, shadowing, blending out. We're good. And then she needed a little bit of purple. So the Spectrum Noir, I did HB2 and then HB3. I felt like I needed a third, a minimal amount of this third color. And I'm glad I did because it brought it to life. Adding the little bit of shadowing here and there on the flowers. And I was debating on these other flowers, and I did not want to bring in a fourth color. I thought it would just be too much for this little image, so I just went back to the pink. I did add green for the leaves, LG 2 and 3. And then for the unicorn herself, of course, I wanted her to be white. But with that, I added a little bit of IG2, which is a gray color. It's a lighter gray color, and just kind of went around all the edges. And as you can see, it brings to life her face. It brings to life the image. And I just take my blender pen and just kind of just softly, real quick, blend it out. Just so it's not a harsh line, but you can see how it adds shadowing and dimension. Now, I hand cut that. I don't know if there is a die. I don't have a die cut to it, and I don't know if there is. So I just hand cut it. And then with these white clouds, I am just adding a little bit of that spun sugar onto the clouds. And I'm just going to glue these on in different layers and trim off the length. And the funny thing is, I went through all this work for these really super cute clouds. And then when I put this rainbow on it, it for real covered up most of the clouds. So clearly I did not think that through very well. Still turned out absolutely adorable. Now, one thing I will say that I wished I would have done differently is the paper that I used for the rainbow. Like I said, it was really inexpensive cardstock that I have had forever, and I just thought, oh, I'll just use that. It would have worked fine because it's a really thin, lightweight cardstock, and it would have worked fine if I had not put glossy accents over top. I don't think it could handle that, so it kind of wrinkled the paper a little bit. To me, it doesn't look horrible. I mean, I don't love it, but the card is still fine. So I would say be careful on larger images, especially with your glossy accents. Use a really sturdy cardstock. Don't use a super thin cardstock because it will make it kind of warp and buckle. Now this very front cloud, I need to I wanted some dimension, so I used some foam tape, and then I'll just kind of trim that off. And here I'm deciding, and I think I made this way harder than it needed to be, but I traced a line and cut the rainbow. I laid it out how I wanted it, and I'm starting from the smallest because I think that's the easiest. And my unicorn's not glued down yet, but I am just kind of tucking it behind her. And just going through all these little pieces, and then I'll just trim off the edges. And I don't know, maybe there's an easier way to do it, but this for me was just, it made sense. So those are all glued on. Now I'm going to glue on my cute little unicorn here. Sorry about my head, guys. Put that aside and let it dry, and now I'm going to glue on the frame and just center that in the cardstock, and I am using Nina Classic Crest Solar White 110 pound cardstock. Let that dry, and then I'm going to be popping up the centerpiece with foam tape so it does have a little bit more dimension. And I'm going to be lining that up in the center there. And look how cute that is. I love its dimension, but I love that it all flows together. Adding some black gel pen to her eyes and some white gel pen, some white little dots to her cute little muzzle. And then I am using the picked raspberry to stamp Happy Birthday on that cloud. And using Nuvo Crystal Drops in Bubblegum Blush and in White Blizzard, the Crystal Drops in White Blizzard. And I did that on her little dots on her hair, and I covered her her little unicorn horn with the Crystal Drops. And then a little bit of the Bubblegum Blush pink everywhere on the clouds. What a super sweet card for a little girl. And then so here's the glossy accents. And I just used my big bottle. I had to come in with my fine tipped applicator, my little bottle that has the fine tip applicator, to get in really close to the unicorn. And I have her tucked in to some vellum clouds so you could still see her cute little feet, but you still get the feeling that she's sitting in the clouds. Because I didn't want half her body to be covered up because she's way too cute. I did want these, you know, the rainbow to be shiny. And again, I would just next time use a thicker, heavy-dutier cardstock. But that turned out so cute. I am so happy with this card. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this card video. If you did, please thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel and please leave me a comment. I would love to know your thoughts about this. You guys have a really wonderful day and I hope to see you back here soon. Thanks. Bye.